G'day and welcome to Down the Shed with Byron. In this episode, we're servicing the Mercedes-Benz. Now this is a 2008 C200 compressor, also known as a W204. Now I'm doing my services on this old girl every 5,000 kilometers. Now you don't have to do that. I think it's recommended every 10,000, but to me, oil's cheaper than an engine. And I'd like to share with you guys how I do it. It's not necessarily how to do it, but I also do a tyre rotation at the same time, also with checking all the fluids. Now this has happened to come up in a service code of B1, which what I've Googled, looks like it's a cabin filter and brake fluid change. I'll leave the brake fluid change for today, but at least change the cabin filter. Now the first thing I've done is I've taken the car for a run down to the shops and brought the oil and filter for the job. Now we'll pop the bonnet and I'll show you where the lever is for that. Now this being a right-hand drive, it is tucked up under the dash there. So can you see that little red lever? You pull that and that pops our bonnet. With the bonnet released at the moment, we'll be able to get our hand just in here, push the lever, and that should lift the engine up. So that's what I was just pressing then. Now the bonnet goes up to a certain stage there, so you can initially have a look at it. Now it goes into a maintenance mode where you can actually open the bonnet right up. Absolutely love this feature. Good on you, Mercedes. Now we can have a good look over the engine bay. Now the first thing I'll do is I'll just check the engine oil level initially, just to make sure I know how much I'm trying to suck out when we go to suck that out, which it looks like we are just under the maximum level there. So we're just there, 2/3 of the way up. Now I've double checked and the capacity for this is roughly 5.5 litres. So I'll show you on my oil evacing pump system that I've brought. Now this was about 200 bucks from the local auto shop, and it's simple as. Comes with all the attachments. Now you have your main sucker pipe, which just hooks into the funnel and locks into place. And with the second stage, we just attach that. Now we can run it down the dipstick tube. Now you just go until you bottom out, right there, and then we'll pump it out. Also take note, there's the litre marks on the side here. So just, for example, we've got 5 litres right about there. So as long as we get roughly 5 litres out, I'll be happy with that. We'll pump that. So I've pumped that about 15 times, and that should be a steady stream of oil coming in. From there, we'll move on to the oil filter, which is located up the back here. Now you'll need a 27mm socket or 1 1/16" to get onto it and crack that off. So I've just got a wobble drive with an extension so I can get in there and crack that off. Now this is a cartridge style filter that will require a couple of O-rings to be replaced. Let's pull that filter out and try and get it straight onto a rag. There we go. And with that filter now, I'll just pull it off the filter housing. I'll just leave it there to drain. Now I'll show you the 3 O-rings we need to replace. Okay, so there's a small one just down the end here, one just there, which is like a medium size, and then you've got your main housing O-ring there. Now to get these off, you use a seal pick, just pry under it and just try and work it gently off, just in case you need to possibly reuse it. Just wind that off, do the same with the others, and then we'll clean this out with a bit of degrease and brake clean. Okay, with that filter housing all cleaned out, I've got the filter here. I'll put the part number up for you, which is what I'm using is a R2681P Ryco oil filter. Now in the kit comes with the O-rings, and again I like to save the old ones just in case you happen to misplace these or etc. And what we'll do is I'll start with the smallest one first, and I'll put a bit of engine oil on them. A little bit of engine oil here. Wipe that on my finger. I'll wipe that on the O-ring, and then we'll slide that on. Okay, that's one. Same process for the others. Righto, with those O-rings fitted now, we'll slide the filter on. It doesn't matter which way it goes on. There we go. You can give that section down there, the housing, an actual wipe if you want to, but just be careful not to drop anything down there. Now we'll refit the filter cartridge. Now this needs to be done up to 24 Newton meters or 17 foot-pounds. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench, that's okay. So you just do it up and you'll feel it it'll bottom out eventually. So just nice and smooth. And it locks up there. That's where it's bottomed out. So if you just went a little tweak like that, that'll be perfect. I'll go get a torque wrench now and just show you. Okay, 24. Just disconnect that. Put that on. Okay, let's have a look. Ah, bang on. Righto, that's oil filter done. We'll check that oil. So as you can see, the sucker line is clear again, and we are down to the 5 litre mark. I'll give it a couple more pumps and see if we can get a bit more out. Now you can keep doing this until you get exactly nothing out. And while you're doing that, you can check your brake fluid is at the maximum spot, which is, ours is there. Now, if you're not sure on what brake fluid to put in, just have a look on top. So this one here is using .4 brake fluid. So we'll sort that out later. Now you can move around and check your coolant overflow bottle. And that looks pretty much bang on for us, full. Now the system has cooled down now. Let's have a look. Yep, perfect. Now you can also check the condition of your radiator cap at the same time, making sure that rubber's in good condition. With that tightened back up, we can move on to the power steering reservoir. Definitely needs a bit of a clean under here, but we can check that fluid as well, making sure it's on the dipstick. Probably needs a little top up. That'll be okay. I'll double check that fluid and I'll top that up as required. Now you can move from here over to just having a look at general coolant pipes, hosing and feeling them, making sure they're not brittle or anything like that. Then you could check your main drive belt, pulleys. Now this needs a belt and pulley kit thrown at it when I can. Moving across over here, we'll check radiator hose, conditions, just having a look down underneath, see if there's any leaks, etc. Top up your washer bottle, need to replace that cap. Engine air filter is under this cover. We'll pull that off shortly and just have a quick gander at that. I did replace that last time. Moving around, now our battery is located under here. So we can double check terminals, making sure they're tight and in place. I'll get to that one in a minute. Oh yeah, that's tight. You can also check and maintain your battery if it's a maintaining battery. From there, if you ever have to jump start the car, that's your earth point, and that's your positive point over here. So I had a phone call from the partner, and she was saying, how do I jump start the car? And I was like, I don't know. I found those spots, so I'd like to share that with you guys. And then that's pretty much a general gist of having a look over the engine in general. We've got most of the engine all out now. We are at just over the 5 litre mark there somewhere. So I'm happy with that. We'll take the oil filler cap off now, and I'll put a funnel there and we'll top it up. Now, if your oil filler cap's ever super tight or you haven't got the hand strength to get it, you can use a shifter on it and move it around. Now this cover here does just pop off as well. which then gives you access to your coil packs and spark plugs. So now I can get the shifter there and just turn it enough just to get it open. There we go. Funnel in. Now I'll start off by putting 5 litres of engine oil in first. I'll check the dipstick and then top up as required. Alright, that's it. Now the oil I'm using is recommended by Penrite, 5W40. So that's what I'm using. What we'll do now, I'll pull the sucker hose out, put the dipstick in, and we'll test that, check that level. Alright, we are halfway up, so we're just in the middle there. So I reckon the other 500 mils will be bang on. So we'll top that up now and that'll be done. And what I like to do is we'll start the car up, run it up for a bit, and then turn it off and let it settle, and then we'll check it again. Now with a T25 Torx bit, you're able to undo the 6 screws that hold the air filter cover down. I'll just pop that up now, to the side, and it's one of those filters where you pull it up on an angle, pull it out. Oh, we have got a bit of debris in there. And I did write the date on this when I changed it last. Oh, we're a year old, nearly. So probably be worth looking into a new one next service, I reckon. I'll tap that out for now, give that a vacuum out, and that should be right. Okay, now with that vacuumed out, you just slide the filter back in place, and then it lives home just like that. Reinstall the cover. We'll do those Torx bits up. Okay, that's done up tight now. That's that sorted. I've had it running again. I've double checked the engine oil. I'll put up on the screen now the dipstick. You've got a minimum mark and a maximum mark. You want to sort of be closer to the maximum mark as possible, but anywhere in between that is okay. That's just a safe range of operating with the engine oil. So minimum, you want to top it up, maybe 500 mils, and if you're on the maximum, bang on. Righto, we'll move on to that cabin filter, and I'll smash that out, and then we'll jack up the car, do a tyre rotation, and have a look at suspension and brakes. Moving on to the cabin filter, or pollen filter. In my case, it's on the passenger side, underneath the glove box. To access that, I need to remove this black plastic cover under here, which has got 3 T20 Torx bit screws. Now I've already got them out just to show you where they are. With those screws removed now, we should be able to pull down this black plastic section. There is a clip just at the back that's a little bit tricky, so we'll just wiggle that out. There we go, that's that big clip we're talking about. Might just disconnect the lights, which is just a push-in button like that. Same on that side. Just move that out of the way. Now from there, you should be able to locate your cabin filter. Now there's a metal tang here. We'll just push that back, unclips. Then we should be able to push the little one here. Now we should be able to just slide the plastic lock across and pull that down. Oh, jeepers creepers. Alrighty then, well, I haven't done this since I brought the car. I don't think it's been done for a while. Now there's some weight in this old filter here, which wouldn't surprise me. Ah, bugger. Now this is one of those things that I recommend changing once a year, and we've only owned the car just under a year at the moment, so I should have done that as soon as we brought it. Anyway, we'll swap that out now. We'll push that one back up into place and we'll lock the plastic across. We'll get that little metal clip and we'll hook it back in that way and then lock it in. Just like that. That little metal clip there. Now, I'm not going to lie, once I clipped that cabin filter in place, I couldn't get that little metal retaining clip on one end to clip in place. I don't know if it's because it's an aftermarket filter, it's a Repco pollen filter, or if it's me. But anyway, I got one side clipped on, the rest is locked in. That should be fine. Now we'll refit that plastic protection tray and re-plug in the little footwell light and whatever that air sensor is over there. Now, depending if you've got a decent rattle gun or not, go around first up and crack off all your wheel nuts, just to make it easier once you've got it jacked up in the air. Now, before you go jacking up your car, just make sure you have one of the wheels chocked, just to prevent it from rolling away, and handbrake on. Now, where I'm jacking this up, I'll show you where I do that shortly. Now, if you're interested of where I jacked it up under the front here, just here on this crossbar here, that's where I've hit the jack. You can also jack it up on the sides underneath these jacking points here where I've got the jack stand locked in place. So there's one of those on each side and at the back. So just under the back door, if you look underneath, it's a jacking point just here. I'll also point out on the diff assembly where you can also put the jack under that and jack it up. We'll do that shortly. Now, what I've done, I've put two jack stands under the rear jacking points on the sides. I've still got the jack under the diff. I've just let it down onto those stands. Just do the wriggle test and make sure it ain't going anywhere before you get underneath it. Now, if you've only got one or two jack stands, just take your time and do maybe one side at a time, or the front or the rear in pairs. Now, if you did crack your wheel nuts prior to this, just go back over them, on the front especially, and just give them a little tweak up again, because what we're going to do is we'll check these front wheel bearings. So you don't want to do it up too tight, just enough. Right, that'll do. Now we'll check the front wheel bearings by just wriggling them up and down. So pulling it from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock and see if you can feel any movement. Now, suspension steering wise, grab it at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock and just give it a wriggle side to side. And you'll be able to like hear if there's a clunk or if there's some sort of just tiny movement, or you should be able to feel something. That's pretty good. Just do the same on the passenger side. Oh, hold on. Just remember, if you did crack your wheel nuts, tighten them back up. At least 3 of them anyway. Okay, we've got a little bit of a movement there and something I can hear. Okay, let's go that way. So we've got something that way. So the wheel bearing might need just a tiny tweak on this side. Now remember, when you pull the wheels off, just give them a roll and just check all the tread, looking for screws or nails that possibly you may have picked up, and just check out the tread wear. Another thing we'll do is either run down to the servo and check the tyre pressures, or we'll check it with my tyre gauge. So we'll just go over that and make sure they're okay. And with that looking all right, we'll put it in place of where I want to fit it. Now with tyre rotations, you got to make sure you got the same size tyres, e.g. width, height, etc. So your tyre size is on the side here, and we've got 245 by 40 17s. So they're the same tyre front and rear. Now it says outside only, so and it's not a directional tyre, so I can actually rotate them. If you had directional tyres, technically you could just go from front to back. Put the back on the front. Now this is a brand new tyre, it's beautiful. Back tyre to the front. Front tyre, the opposite side, back. Okay, that's that done. Now, if you didn't understand the pattern that I just done then, I'll put a picture up now just to make it clear. You can also add your spare tyre into the mix if you have been doing them from new. But this spare tyre's probably 10 years old, so still good tread, but I'll leave it as the spare. And if you'd like to know the correct tyre size or tyre pressures for your car, on the inside of the door here, you'll see a tyre plaque. And that'll tell you what your vehicle is required to have on it and the pressures to run. Now let's start with the brakes. Having a look at the rotor, making sure we've got no grooves and you can't get your fingernail caught in it. Now that's looking not too bad, and the brake pads are looking nice and healthy. So that's your wear material there. Now on the driver's side, it has a wear indicator that lets you know, which is absolutely awesome. Moving into steering rack, we're going to check all the ball joints through here, making sure the boot's not split. Have a look at that front bush. Starting to look a bit perished, that is. I'll put a pry bar in there and we'll have a gander at that. Now our sway bar links, we'll just check out those ball joints for movement. Having a look at the front strut, making sure we haven't got any oil sitting around the rod end. That's looking alright. Obviously our dust boot needs to be down here somewhere, but obviously the wheel's up in the air. But that's pretty much the front end to have a look at. Righto, let's have a look at that front bush. With the pry bar just in between the body and the front arm, we've got a bit of flex there, and you can see that that bush has started to deteriorate just through here. So it's probably due for a set of front bushes, I reckon. I have a feeling these are hydraulic. Moving on to the steering ball joint, I'll just give that a wriggle, and that feels nice. Otherwise, you do get some sort of movement up and down here, which is your spring tension. That's in there, but that's perfectly fine, that one. So look at that. Oh. I felt a bit of a clunk then in that front ball joint there, which is probably suspect of a little bit of a road noise that we get when we go over a speed bump. Sway bar link. Put a pry bar under there. Got any movement there? I can feel a little bit of a notchiness, but it's okay. Been worse. Okay. And again, hopefully you can see, I just put the pry bar in here, give that a bit of a flex, and see if that lower control arm bush in here has any movement, which has got a little bit. Oop. Doesn't seem too bad though. But overall, I think that front suspension is not too bad. I'll jump on, have a look on the other side, and then we'll check out the back. Same again with the rear brakes. We're looking for wear material just inside there. And again, this has a wear indicator on the driver's side, which lets you know when they get down. Run your fingernail across that rotor. Feels all right. Now we'll just jump in and check the rear suspension. Now we have got what looks like a little bit of weepage from the rear shock absorber, but it's not wet. I'd say it's okay still. Looking at springs, bushes, sway bar link again, everything up in here, making sure nothing's perished, especially all the rubber joints. That's all looking not too bad. Another thing to have a quick gander at is your CV joint boots, making sure they're not split, because you don't want to be getting water and mud inside them. Moving around to the diff side of it, having a look, checking out your exhaust system while you're under here, making sure you haven't got any leaks. Beautiful. Moving back over to the diff assembly again. Now, can you see that Allen key plug just on the side there? That's your diff oil level. So you remove that, and if it dribbles out, it's got enough oil in it. Moving around to your coupling, making sure that's not perished, split or broken, making sure those bolts are in place. Moving forward to the back of the transmission, just looking at that coupling joint. Have a look at the rear mounts here.
making sure they're not perished, making sure your transmission's not leaking. Now inspecting that for oil leaks, oil level, it's a little bit hard because that's your filler plug just there, and on the inside of that is a tube that comes up to about here, so you have to pump oil in through that tube. So yeah, we'll have a look at that another day. But it shifts fine, doesn't appear to be any major leaks. It's alright. We'll move up and under, have a look at the back of the engine. Everything seems to look okay up in there. We can go and pull these bash guards off and have a further inspection, but I'd more than likely do that if you had a suspect oil leak somewhere. Now that's pretty much a general look over underneath your car, and that goes for most cars, just having a quick general look over. If something doesn't look right, take a photo of it, show a mate, Google it, even go down to your local mechanics or auto shop and just ask for advice. All right, we'll adjust this front wheel bearing up a touch and get these wheels back on. All right, let's start by getting this cap off. Now with a 5mm Allen key, you're able to crack that locking bolt that's in place. Undo that. And now we should be able to put the shifter on there and just see where it falls. So that's about right there. Just make sure it falls in that same spot again. The weight of the spanner, just a quick nip. So that should be fine. So a little quick top up, we'll tighten that back up. Now I haven't done these wheel bearings since we've owned the car. I don't know the history on the wheel bearings, so it'd probably be worth me adding that to the list of jobs to do. All right, that's tight. Put that cap back on. Job done. All right, well, that is pretty much wheels back on. I gave them all a good clean while I had them off, and man, it just got dark all of a sudden. But that's given me an idea of one thing we forgot to do, is check the lights. All right, that's that done. We'll check the wheel nuts now, or wheel bolts. Now they've got to be done up to about 110 Newton meters, which I think's, correct me if I'm wrong, 88 foot-pound. So we'll go around those, but if you don't have a torque wrench, just initially give them a decent reef with a breaker bar and you should be sufficient. So yeah, if you are doing it with a breaker bar, and double check that foot-pound torque, which was 81 foot-pound, just give it the initial, yep, that's firm, and go opposite. So tighten to there, opposite, opposite, opposite. Now I'll just put a torque wrench on them and I'll show you. So this is set at about 110. So there's not much in them. Oh, probably need to put the handbrake back on. All right, I'll go around and do all of them. Now the great thing about the Mercedes that I love, it gives you fault codes of what lights are playing up. So I've got problems with the wiring harnesses in the front headlights. So it comes up with left hand parker light not working. But otherwise the lights are looking all right. I think the fog lights, well, when I turn them on, they're working. And what I've done, I started the car up, I put it in reverse, and then I shut the car down, and then I put the accessories back on so I could check the reverse lights and all the parker lights at the rear. And they're all looking good. I'll put you on a tripod. Let me know if my brake lights work. Right, let's have a look. Yep. Nah. Yep. Nah. Cheers for checking that for me. There we go. Comes up with the faults. Right hand parker lamp. Left hand parker lamp. All good. Okay. Now I'm a little bit behind on the kilometers at the moment. So to reset this for the service code, we need to hold down the telephone and the OK button. So I'll try and do that together. So I've got the ignition on. It's telling me we need the service to be done. I was meant to do this video the other week, but yeah, 1100 over. So we'll just say okay to that. The kilometers, let's try this. So we've got the phone, the okay. There we go, nah, it's trip meter. Park lamp. There we go. Go down. It's had a full service. Configure service. Carried out service. Yes. Undo. Yep, we'll confirm that. Service is being completed. That's pretty much it. Sweet. Press the back button, just there. Now we're back to the trip meter. I'll just give it another start up. Now the aircon should be mint now because of that cabin filter. Now I've just taken it for a quick cruise around the block and everything's hunky-dory. Now this is just how I do a 5,000 kilometre service normally on time. So I'm hoping any of the tips and tricks I may have given you, hopefully you picked up something. If I've missed something, throw it in the comments, let others know. Otherwise, if you're interested in any more videos on the C200, let me know. I've got to source the headlight harnesses. I want to get some suspension stuff for the front end. I think the rear tail light sort of holders are burnt out and the earths are buggered, so I've got to fix that sort of stuff up. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Dirty thumbs up and see you when I'm looking at you.